Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to explain this concept of diminishing marginal utility, and this relates to demand. And first of all, we're going to talk about donuts in a minute, but first of all I want to just break down this expression. If something is diminishing, that means that it's getting less. If something is diminishing, it's getting less and less. In economics, marginal, this word, means an extra amount of something. So if I said I'm giving you one more donut, that would be the marginal donut. If a car factory makes one more car, that is the marginal car. So marginal means an extra amount of something. And utility means the benefit that is derived or got from something. So the benefit that is received from something. And the idea of this is that you have a decreasing amount of benefit when you have an extra unit of something. And this explains why a demand curve is downward sloping. Remember, when you're drawing diagrams, first you must label the axes. This one is price, we can just put a P, and this one is quantity, a Q. And we've established already that a demand curve will be downward sloping because there's a negative correlation between the price and the quantity demanded. That as the price comes down, the quantity demanded will be greater. And we need to label this with a D down here at the bottom for demand. And diminishing marginal utility helps explain another reason why this demand curve is downward sloping. If you imagine that I present you with 3 donuts, when you eat your first donut, it will be absolutely delicious if you like donuts, and you'll be really enjoying it, and it will taste very, very good. And you will think, this is a lovely donut, I'm very happy. You'll be getting a lot of benefit from that donut. If you then start eating your second donut, you are likely to find it's still nice, but it's not as nice as the first donut. Because now you have had the first bite, that was really delicious, but you've got used to what the donut tastes like. And your second donut, it's okay, but you're not enjoying it as much as you did the first donut. If I got you to eat the third donut, it's quite likely that you might start to feel sick. Even though you love donuts, you've had enough donut now and you're not feeling good at all. And this happens generally with most things. If you have one of something, you derive more benefit from it than the second one, and more from the second one than the third one. And if I got you to eat 10 donuts, by the 10th donut, you probably would never want to have another donut again. So you can see here that you've got diminishing marginal utility. Each extra donut that you consume gives you less utility or less benefit than the donut before. And this can be shown on the demand curve because if you are only consuming one donut, the value that you place on it, or the price you are willing to pay, will be quite high. However, if you're buying 2 donuts, on average the value that you're placing on the donuts is less, because the second donut is giving you less value. If you bought 3 donuts, the average value that you place on it, and therefore the price that you will pay for the 3 donuts, is even lower. And if you get to higher quantities, on average for each donut, you're willing to pay less money. So if we just look once more, if you imagine that you are consuming, we'll say this is 1 donut, maybe you are willing to pay, we'll exaggerate, £10 for that donut. But if you're consuming 2 donuts, then you might actually only be willing to pay, let's say, £8 for these 2 donuts. And as we go along, at a higher quantity, you will be placing less value on the donuts, and therefore the price will be lower. And this explains the concept of diminishing marginal utility, why the demand curve is downward sloping. Because with higher quantities, we are willing to pay less per unit of whatever it is that we're consuming, because we are deriving less utility or less benefit from that additional unit.